Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. We're bringing back a segment we haven't done in a while on the channel, Great Albums, where I usually take some time to look back on some of the recent records I really loved, I really appreciated, I really enjoyed. I shout them out, I round them up, I bring a bit more attention to them. I don't know why I fell off with doing these more often, but I figure I should get back into the swing of it, especially since I don't want these albums to slip by you guys. And I feel like with how saturated the music sphere is at the moment, it's so easy, even for records that get quite a bit of buzz, to like slip through the cracks for a lot of listeners. And I just think there was some really good stuff that dropped over the past couple of months so far this year. So let's get into it. And also, for those who have seen all the reviews of the records I'm about to talk about, I've added a few toward the end that I have not discussed yet in video, so stick around. Okay, first off, we have the new Slowtie record, Ugly. The UK rapper and songwriter is back with a pretty new sound and direction, embracing more singer-songwriter and rock and punk aesthetics on the instrumentation of this LP. A lot of live guitars and drums here. And Slowtie uses this slightly new sound palette for him to explore themes of loss, personal devastation, mental health, and let me tell you, man, this album emotionally is going to put you through the freaking ringer. It's going to tear you apart. It's going to rip you to shreds. It's going to show no mercy. This is handily Slowtie's most emotionally potent record yet. The record comes to a really amazing climax as well. Just really powerful and significant tracks throughout the entire thing. Big respect to Slowtie for coming through with such a fantastic LP. Next, shout out to this model Actriz record, Dogsbody. This thing is also pretty dark and tortured, with a lot of throbbing electronics, rhythms, and bass, really calling back to some of those classic New York no-wave aesthetics, but with more of a, I guess, dance punk flair. The vocals are quite something as well, and I think you'll get a lot out of them, especially if you're in a group such as Shoo Shoo. The vibes and aesthetics of the record are pretty uniform from front to back, but it's a lot of visceral bops and bangers, so the energy kind of makes up for the lack of versatility. Next, of course, shout out to the fantastic Caroline Polachek, who came through with this amazing art pop album over here, Desire, I Want to Turn Into You, where she makes some really kind of progressive, multi-phase, colorful, incredibly well-produced anthems that effectively straddle the border between being really catchy but also heady too. I think Caroline upped her vocal game on this record in a really impressive way. The Grimes and Dido track, which was maybe the biggest surprise in terms of feature placements, turns out really well. There are impressive cuts from the front end to the back end of this thing, super consistent, super enjoyable, surely in the running for the best pop release of the year, and it's only March. Next, shout out as well to the new Paramore LP, This Is Why. On this record, Hayley Williams and the boys switch things up aesthetically once again. We are not so much getting the dance and synth pop of After Laughter. This time it's more of an indie rock flavor, more of a dance punk and post-punk flavor, depending on which track you're listening to. And I suppose the most important thing to note with that stylistic change is just how effectively Paramore slide into this sound, because the drums are crisp, the guitars are raw, the vocals are really amped and energetic and catchy, and for the most part the songs are there too. Plus it's really surprising to see Paramore this deep into their career and putting this much fire and this much energy into their performances too, which is truly what makes This Is Why kick ass. And finally, for albums, this new Parannoul record, After the Magic, a Korean shoegaze and bedroom pop project. I've been warming up to the record that kind of broke on Bandcamp, that drove everybody crazy, that kind of gained the project so much attention. I wasn't very crazy about it, frankly, with the vocal performances and some of the rough mixes. After the Magic, though, is much smoother, more sound rich, more impressive in terms of multi-phase songwriting, builds, genre fusions. It's honestly just a beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, moving, nostalgic, and sentimental record that will hit you right in the feels, and do so with heaps and heaps and heaps of epic rock instrumentation and synths, and tons of psychedelic effects too. There are a lot of very emotional and grand highlights throughout this thing. If you're into music that's going to tug at your heartstrings a little bit, you're going to like this. Now that's going to do it for albums. Now before this video is over, I want to shout out a few EPs. If you guys have noticed, I have been doing some videos here and there on the channel where, I'm shouting out EPs that I'm really liking, really enjoying, but they're not getting as much draw as I would like. like. So I'm hoping that if I couch these releases in with these albums that I think are great, you'll catch them and you'll see them, because I'm trying to recommend some music to you guys. And I think these projects are really cool. First off, this new one from Alice Longyu Gao, producer, screamer, singer, songwriter, left field pop phenomenon, has this new EP out titled Let's Hope Heteros Fail, Learn, and Retire, which in some respects is like a compilation of a lot of recently released singles she's been dropping here and there, but still, these singles account for, in my opinion, some of the most exciting, challenging, out there, and wild pop music that you're gonna hear. Alice is insane. Alice is wild. Alice is daringly creative and compromising for nothing, no one. The hilariously catchy Come to Brazil is a must listen. The rock and noise fusions and metal fusions on Believe the Hype are invigorating and crazy. The way she embraces J-pop aesthetics so creatively with her own unique twist on Make You Love Me is great too. Then we have Monk, Hello Kitty, Sex, the intro and outro, which are both really interesting and add a lot of, I guess, thematics and dramatics to the project. This thing is fire from front to back, and it's just so freaking eclectic and unique, and I'm so excited to hear Alice grow from here. Because, I don't know, I can't call it right now because it is March, there's a lot left of 2023, but in my opinion, this is kind of like EP of the year material. So this is great. This is a must listen in my opinion. Moving on from there, we have also this new EP from Nia Archives, who is a producer and a vocalist from the UK, and has come through with this Sunrise Bang Your Head Against the Wall project that is pretty fantastic. Brings back a lot of those old school, like, breakbeat and dance pop vibes, which there are other artists out there who have been on a similar wave, Pink Panther-esque, for example, but I'm kind of liking the specificity in style and some of the jazzy undertones that Nia brings to the table a little bit more. A personal preference there, I'll say. Obviously, I enjoy both artists, and you can enjoy both artists, but this EP just stopped me in my tracks, and I'm glad I tried it. There are a load of bangers on this thing from front to back, and even though it is an EP, it's still pretty satisfying. I'm not necessarily leaving it wanting more after it's over, and it just kind of leaves me psyched, with this being Nia's third EP, to hear what exactly she does in an album context down the road. Because the material here is easily her best and most defined yet. And that is going to be it for the Great Albums segment. Thank you very much for watching. Again, everything I have reviewed and have talked about in this video is linked down below. We will link to those EPs that I mentioned too. And yeah, recommendations. Let me know what some of your favorite albums have been from the past month or so, or just 2023 thus far. Love you guys. You're the best. I'll see you in the next video. Over here next to my head is another one you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Great Albums forever.